ladies and gentlemen, VAUSH. Good or bad? People have been asking this for centuries, for ages. And today, I'm here to say that VAUSH, mostly good, sometimes has a take that I disagree with, but I can understand. And this is one of these situations. This comes to us from the clip channel, from the VAUSH Clip Industrial Complex, VAUSHite. This comes to us from that channel. You cannot see the name here over chat, which you can join. Link in the description so that you know whenever I go live. But VAUSH has a hot take on black superheroes. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my take on race swapping when it comes to superheroes right quick. My take is pretty simple. When you do it, just make sure that you have a good reason for doing it, and it can be very good for a story. It can open up new avenues for exploring stories. Yeah. And while the take of just make new superheroes and make them popular, while I do think that is something that can be done, I don't think it's necessarily bad to change the race of a superhero, because it can open up some new interpretations of that character. So Superman is an example. Superman was written by two Jewish men. He's heavily based off of the concept of a golem. I believe Jacob Geller made a video on it, which was really good. And you can argue that leaving Superman the person that he is could work, but I would also say that, leaning more into Superman's origins as being a superhero created by Jewish people could be good, since a lot of people just assume that Clark Kent is some Protestant superhuman uber guy. A lot of people assume that. It's not necessarily the truth. I think leaning into that would be cool. I also think that an interpretation of Clark Kent as sort of like an immigrant story, so making Clark Kent Hispanic maybe, or making him Asian, so on and so forth, could be really interesting ways to explore, what makes Superman Superman. And, as long as it services the story, I'm fine with it. I've even said this with Black Panther, and we're gonna get into the video. I've even said this with Black Panther. If you can make a story, you can very easily construct a story where Black Panther as a character is white. And if you were to do that, a story where, say, the King of Wakanda kills Ulysses Claw and adopts his child because he feels bad for orphaning the kid, and then the kid grows up and becomes King of Wakanda because he's the only child in the family. That could be a really interesting way to explore the racial dynamics of having a white character being king of an all-black, reclusive African nation. That could be very interesting. And here we are, we're gonna watch VAUSH's take on race-swapping Superman. So, I did watch through this. I did the streamer send of pre-watching, but I wanted to make sure that I disagreed with his take before we got into it, and now that we've preferenced it, let's actually watch it. So, let's do it. Uh-oh, wrong one.
Guys, get ready for my anti-SJW take, okay? Are you guys ready for it? Stop making white superheroes black, make black superheroes, and then give them the attention they need to become fan favorites, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna slow him down. Jesus, I didn't expect him to talk that fast. Also, I will say, this does look like it's gonna be a little bit of an older take, since this is VAUSH. He has the hippy-dippy belt in the back. The chair is fully intact, and he has his old hair, and also his keloids. So this may be an older take. If he's changed it since then, I retract this. But until then, we're gonna be covering this, so let's get into it.
Because nobody buys this shit, okay? And it's kind of fucking insulting. Alright, here's our fucking big BLM moment. Now Superman's black, congratulations. Alright, cool, whatever, it's not a big deal. Just why not focus on having black superheroes that mean something? You've been cycling the same fucking character drain for 80 billion years now. You'd come up with something new. What about Miles Morales? I was okay with Miles Morales because I felt like it really worked in the context of its story. I felt also, man.
Okay, so this is a pretty good setup. The whole context of the story thing. This is something that I agreed with. This is something that I set up earlier Focusing on the context of the story as to why you do something with a character's race or some fundamental attributes of a character can be pretty good. That's what you should do when you're changing something like this. You know? Have a reason for it. Know what you want to explore and explore it well when you do it. Don't do like a fucking Black Thor thing where he's living in Manhattan with fucking with sneakers tied up on like power lines. Don't just do that. Don't just make him black to make him black. Have a reason behind it. Be willing to explore something with that. The dynamics of the character with that. Make it make sense in the story.
I also feel like it works well for Spider-Man too, I think. You know? Oh yeah, sorry, to be clear, Miles Morales is a different person. He is not a black Peter Parker. Yeah, that's also a pretty big difference there. Also, I don't know, man. I feel like Spider-Man's kind of mythos works a little bit, you know? Because Spider-Man is supposed to be... Oh, we had 1488 down there for a second. Spider-Man is supposed to be a, like, young, generally young, you know, like, inner city, Manhattan, like, you know, kind of dorky kid who's hated by the cops, you know? Kind of an outcast from society, even though all he does is good. Sorry, Queens. I don't know. I don't know what New York boroughs are like. Right, shut up. Yeah, it seems to me...
Fuck New York.
Like someone could have the exact same background and the exact same vibe as Spider-Man to be black. However, Superman is based off the Jewish golem, you know? Like, it's a bit of a different thing. It's not that it had to be white to begin with. It's just...
By Odin's fade, true Kiskara.
Really? Yeah, really. You guys not know this?
Okay, question about black
Jacob
heroes.
Geller has a video.
Why do so many of them have electric powers? Because it's sick as fuck. Why not? Dude. Because electricity is sick as fuck, dude. Electrical powers, some of the coolest in fucking media, okay? Chat is flying by tonight. Glad a pillow's grown. Thank you very much.
On this, you probably watch. Does it better than I do. I mean, talks about it better than I do. But it's fiction. Can't that type of stuff change? Wouldn't you rather have, like, celebrated black heroes? Wouldn't that be, like, way cooler? Instead of, like, oh my god, Black Superman Funko Pops! Oh! Like, wouldn't it be way cooler? Just have, like, black heroes? Oh, wait, holy shit. Wait, how many are there? Every superhero is a golem and not just Superman? No, I think Superman is uniquely so. Man, can you guys actually stop? Jesus. Why are you people saying Black VAUSH?
Electricity is cool, there's no demand.
What about a POC assuming the mantle of...
Hey, look. I can be Black VAUSH. I can be... Look. 1 second. He just mentioned Black VAUSH. Hold up. I like Fully Cooley. My Name is a Pillow. Off of the band The Pillows, who did the music for Fully Cooley. Look, I can be Black VAUSH. I can be Blosh. Let me be Blosh. We need an Infamous remake? We do.
An originally white superhero like Miles Morales, Green Lantern, Captain America, etc. Okay. We're gonna have to go even more anti-SJW
I am
to really land this point.
Blosh.
Okay? Let's get ready for it, okay?
Hey, y'all saw that? Sub for more clips. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon if you want to see more content like this, and you know when I go live so that you can join our lovely chat right here. With that being said, let's get back into it.
Let's get ready for it, okay? The reason why people keep doing this shit, where they take white superheroes and make them black, is because the racist-ass system is not willing to commit the time and resources necessary to promoting a character that is black in its totality.
That is true. He's not wrong about this.
Sure, Miles Morales is the current Spider-Man, but Spider-Man in the broader cultural mythos, the broader perspective, mostly thought of as white, unless you're up and currently on the comics. Same with Superman. Always going to be thought of predominantly, first and foremost, by the vast majority of people as white. Same with Captain America. All of them, okay? You know who won't? Black Panther. This is Black Panther, all right? There's a reason why they commit to this. It's a costume change that's low risk and low reward. It doesn't really solve the problem.
Okay, and I will say too, on the topic of Miles Morales, I don't even necessarily think that Miles Morales is like a comic character anymore. We saw the popularity of Into and Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Miles Morales as a video game sold very well, even if it is just an add-on to Spider-Man PS4. I think we are seeing Miles Morales. I mean, he's even going to be joining the MCU. We already had references to Miles in the MCU. I think Miles is a very good example of taking a character, which he may not be Peter Parker, but I would say that Miles is one of the most famous examples of taking a character such as Spider-Man, because Spider-Man isn't just Peter Parker. You have Peter Parker and you have Spider-Man, and you can even make Peter Parker a black character and make it work. But you have a character such as Spider-Man, and you have him being inhabited by someone like Miles Morales as a mask, as a face. That's one of the plot points in Spider-Man Miles Morales. The fact that Peter goes out of the country and Miles has to take over as Spider-Man. And I think creating a character or even changing the context of a character can make it work through changing their race by creating something that a community in the comics can look to, or creating a figurehead, creating a hero for a lot of characters. And this is what it gets down to when it does come to race swapping of characters. Sure, it may largely be cash grabs. Sure, it may largely be a way for companies and corporations to sit up and say, yes, we are nice and we love people of minority groups. Hell yeah. But even if it is that, it speaks to two things. One, it speaks to the social acceptability of these groups, the increasing social acceptability of these groups. This is something that we see with queer readings of characters. This is something that you even see with like rainbow capitalism. Say what you will about it. It is a very good indication of like support for queer people in the world to make characters gay. Which like, it's not controversial necessarily to have like a black character, but it can be controversial to make a character black. But I'll even say this, in terms of representation, making a character who was previously a different race, like a white character, black or Asian or Hispanic, can have like very real effects on the people who consume that media, namely little kids. Yeah. And I'll put it like this. I work as a grocery... I am the grocery store. Okay, no. I work at a grocery store. And in that grocery store, I see a lot. I live in the state of North Carolina. I live kinda, sort of in a city, and also kind of not. Like, it's like city, suburbia, rural area, and like my little fucking bit. It's this weird mixture of everything here. And, of course, this is anecdotal. I do have to preface by saying that. But I do get to see a lot of weird things from the most hyper-conservative people to some of the most liberal people. And something that you see in these things, especially with the little kids, is the way that they react to new media that they see. This is something that I've noticed as I've worked at the store for the past 2 years. And around the time when The Little Mermaid came out, there was a very noticeable thing going around with some of the younger black people that came in the store. Most notably, some of the younger black girls that came in the store. Where I saw a lot of them wearing like Ariel shirts and things of that nature. And like the new Ariel. Like Halle Bailey, I think is her name, not Halle Berry. Halle Bailey. I saw them wearing those shirts. I saw them carrying around little mermaid toys of Halle Bailey and things of that nature. And even if changing the race of a character, even if it is just a way for these big corporations to kind of cash in and look nice and, you know, like they support these groups, which is good, I think it is cynical to look at the ways that companies do this as a negative thing would it be nice if there were new black characters created? Yeah, it would be nice, and we should see that more of characters like Miles Morales. But let's say you take a universe, you make a universe where Peter Parker is black. Probably already fucking is one, just floating around in the Spider-Verse. Let's make a universe like that, okay? What about Peter's story could change to make it different? What about Peter's motivations could change to make it different? Yeah? So, not going off of Miles Morales' motivations, which are largely kind of the same as Peter's, protecting his community, making sure that the people he loves are safe and cared for, things of that nature, just being a hero. What about changing Peter could change his context? You have a black kid from Queens, Peter Parker. He lives with his aunt and his uncle. His parents aren't in the picture because they passed away from something, which is typically how it goes in the Spider-Man mythos. Or they were government agents that got disappeared. It's weird when it comes to Peter's parents. But you have this black kid, and he's really talented, really gifted, but he's kind of troubled. He doesn't know what he's really doing. And the one father figure that he has in his life, his Uncle Ben, ends up getting shot after he gets his spider powers, after he gets his spider bite. And after this, he's left without this masculine role model. And he turns to anger at this. He maybe lashes out at people. He tries to get revenge on the person who killed his uncle in a robbery. And then he remembers that with a great power comes great responsibility speech, and then he decides to use his power, his newfound, I guess you could say wealth, almost, not even necessarily that, but his newfound abilities to do good in his community. And yeah, that works for a white character. Uncle Ben would be shot by a cop instead of a crook? Not necessarily, but there are ways that you could explore that could be interesting. But you can do a reading of that. Yeah, is a white guy, and it works. But I think it would be very interesting to explore Peter Parker's character arc from the context of him being a black character. Someone who had a father figure taken from him. Again, even potentially by police. Like Isaac Lee Wright said in chat. You could have that. You could make Peter black and from West Philly, but then one day he gets into a little trouble and his mom got scared, yeah. And then he fucking gets sent to Bel Air, indeed. Why not change his uncle? You could. Because this is media. You can do anything with these characters and you can make it work phenomenally. Yeah? But going back to Peter Parker, the context of having this black kid who has his father figure taken away from him in a violent event, potentially getting robbed, potentially getting shot by police, maybe even that. You could have his father figure being taken away from him, and he becomes angry over that, And he loses his direction over that because a massive figure in his life is taken away from him, and now he is more unstable than he may have been before. But then through communal love, communal support, within a tight-knit group of people who have been suffering under oppression, he rises up and starts to champion his community, starts to help his community, starts to fight against the ills that are plaguing his community. And yeah, you can write this as a white character and it can work. But I really think that something like that, like Peter Parker, as a character, not Miles Morales necessarily, but Peter Parker could work amazingly if written as a black character. Because even though it's a small change, that change in context means a lot. Because it speaks to some of the issues that are talked about in my community as a black person. And I think looking at the swapping of characters' races in the cynical way detracts from that. I don't think we should be cynical about this. Because there are genuine arguments in here when it comes to media about how to change these characters and make them make sense in a new context. The relationship between Peter, Gwen, and Gwen's dad. Yeah! If Peter was black and you maintained a white Gwen Stacy with a father who was still a white cop, that would do so much in terms of changing the context of that dynamic. It's not just tense because he's like an overbearing dad looking at Spider-Man and he's hunting down Spider-Man. He's not just an overbearing dad now. Peter is a black kid dating a white girl whose dad is a cop in the NYPD at that. And if you make it a story where, say, I would personally like to keep the whole Uncle Ben tries to stop a robber, gets shot. I think that would still do the great power, great responsibility speech well. Because that's, you have to have that. Yeah? But if you have a dynamic where, say, Uncle Ben got shot, or someone close to Peter got shot by police, in an instance of police violence, that awkwardness in that relationship between Peter and Captain Stacy would be a lot more interesting and a lot more awkward. Again, I think this may just be a situation. One moment that seriously stood out to me that I felt was impactful was when Miles asked Peter why his Spidey sense was active all the time. Yeah, that's good. You can genuinely have so many stories that could do well if you change the race of a character and could explore a new frontier of that character that you couldn't do previously. Yeah. And to preface, I don't think VAUSH is racist. I'm not one of those people, I'm not one of those people. I just think, I'm going to be honest with you. Remember who we're talking about here. This is VAUSH. He has bad media takes sometimes. And I think this is one of them. But you know what? Oh, and his dynamic with Flash Thompson could also have some undertones. Thank you, Jeremy. It could absolutely have some undertones, like some racial undertones. Flash isn't just messing with Peter because he is like a nerd. He's messing with Peter because he's a black kid. That could be interesting. But we cannot stay on this segment for long. Unfortunately, we are 22 minutes in. So, with that being said, if you liked this video, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you know when I go live, so that you can join this lovely, lovely chat that I've been riffing off and looking at their ideas and speaking on them. You can be one of these people if you join. You can also join the Discord down below so that you know when I go live. I also talk in the Discord to people in the Discord because it's a tiny little community Discord and I like to interact with y'all sometimes. Also follow me on Twitter down below if you want, and you can follow me on Threads down below as well if you like this video. I like you. Have a good one. And I have to hit the stop recording button.